You probably already know that since you're on a page that's called J. Cleveland Page. And for those of you who don't actually know me, I am a multi-passionate entrepreneur. That is at least the term that's being thrown around today. To basically say I am trying to take my jack of all trades life and turn into a jack of all trades business. And as the title of this live is going, you see that multi-passionate entrepreneurship is great for people with various passions, people who don't want to be put into a box, but it may not be working as well as you think it is for yourself. And it's definitely not working as well as it should be on my end. Now, let me back up a bit and explain to where we got to this point. About 10 years ago or so, I began my journey calling myself a small business owner or entrepreneur, essentially taking some of the skills I was using for my everyday work and going on the side, doing my side hustle thing, trying to make it into something that could grow on the off chance that what I'm doing now for my day job wasn't going to sustain itself. As time would have it and luck would have it, you say, or just circumstances, the business that I work every day in, which is broadcasting, has its issues. And because of that, there's a lot of people who are doing side hustles and side gigs and basically getting out of the business that we're in, which should offer up more opportunities. Unfortunately, that's not the way it's actually working out. So my entrepreneurial journey, my side hustles, my multi-passion entrepreneurship has been a way to sustain things, sustain mostly sanity, because it hasn't sustained as much as a business as I'd like to. It's been a long succession of stops and starts and stops and starts and stalls going on. And right now I'm working through a stall issue. That was the original reason why we killed this page about a month, 2 months ago, and brought it back to life. And I'm slowly reclaiming my space, my digital space, by trying to be more focused and more good to you, giving you guys more great stuff as opposed to the randomish stuff that popped up and some other weird issues that Facebook had when it was trying to fix itself and not allowing things going on. But for everyone out there who is following me or who follow me, will see this in the future and start following the things going on. A sort of mea culpa on my end for my lack of focus and my lack of ability to really work through the multi-passion entrepreneurship. Well, I will also give a quick mea culpa as how I'm not going to exactly give it up yet. In the fact that what you're really working towards in your business is making your business the best it could be. And that requires focus, focused effort, focused thought, focused training, focus. There's so many things that are focus based in everything you're doing if you want to do something well, that if you're not putting enough effort into it, not putting enough focus into it, you're not going to give it the right amount of time. If you are an athlete, and I use sports a lot in analogy because I work in the business well for broadcasting for sports. If you're an athlete and you have a fairly multi-general faceted game, an athlete has to be good at various different things in what they're doing, or at least proficient in it. And you have one thing you're awesome at, one thing you're not very good at. You have to choose on how you want to focus your practice, whether you need to practice on that thing you're not good at or practice on the thing that you're awesome at. Basketball, because basketball season is getting heated up in the NBA and winding down more or less in the college ranks. We're getting ready for March Madness. Trademark, don't get me. And so we're going to see a lot of amazing basketball play in the middle of the day that we'll be watching on our devices and just not paying attention for work. If you've got a player who is horrible at free throws, but great playing inside the perimeter, but because they play inside, that means they draw a lot of fouls, so they get a lot of chances to shoot free throws. You're going to want to work on that thing you're not so great at, the free throws. You're going to work on that for just a little bit, a slight, just so that you can at least get some game out of that, because otherwise you get what was famously called the hack a Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal was a great basketball player, but he was horrible at free throws. So every time he came inside, instead of letting him dunk on you, you just fouled him and he went to the free throw line. And most of the time he missed them both. You have a lot of guys with a lot of fouls, but if you have a lot of guys on the bench that can give a lot of fouls and are giving much effort anyway, it wins. You take advantage of their lack of ability to do one thing, and you get whatever advantage you can. That's essentially where you're at when you're a multi-passionate entrepreneur, when you're working on so many things because you have so many thoughts, so many ideas, so many passions that you don't want to put yourself in a box, which is fine. You don't want to limit yourself to opportunities, which is great. But you also don't make yourself available to the one thing that you're really great at, or you're not really putting the effort to the thing you're not so great at that it becomes something proficient. You're putting so much effort into so many things that it does not become amenable to getting anything done. Now, granted, most things you're doing just in life are pretty complicated. Driving is a pretty complicated thing where you're manipulating the vehicle, you're keeping an eye on what's going on out there on the road, you're trying to guess what's happening with other people who you cannot tell what's happening because they're in other vehicles, and sometimes you're managing whomever's in the car. If you have kids, for example, keeping them from getting too rowdy. That's a multi-passionate enterprise in itself, but it's a complicated deal where it's not just one thing at a time. Multitasking, in a sense, happens and exists, although you don't necessarily do all these things at the same time. You do them in clips, going back and forth and rotating. But having a multi-passionate entrepreneurship life, thinking you're doing so many things and getting so much done, is not actually feasible. You can have multi-passions. You can be an entrepreneur with various things going on, doing various different types of activities, but you can't necessarily do them all at once in succession, really close to each other, because they get in the way. It's basic scheduling. You can schedule so much time for one thing here, so much time for one thing over here, so much time for one thing over here, and you can have a perfect schedule that gets you a chance to do many things in one large block of time, say a day. But if object A requires so many things, and object B requires so many things from someplace else, and option C requires you to be somewhere that takes a long amount of time to get to, you have to factor all those things in as well. So for 10 years, any idea that's been tossed at me has turned into something to go into my business, because any chance to make a buck is a chance to make a buck. That sounds like a great idea. Sounds like a perfect idea. Sounds like not leaving any money on the table, but that's not what actually came about. So what I have at the moment is a large scattered portfolio of things that aren't working as well as they should. I advertise myself as a personal development and professional development coach, trainer. I don't like coach, the word well, but a person who trains people in personal and professional development. And because of the people I have taken on as clients, many of them essentially flaking out in the middle of things, I have a portfolio of people, of things of unfinished business, unfinished proof of concepts that make it hard for me to sell myself on the next level, because taking in the people that didn't really work out so well. I am a digital content creator, and I have various different clients and do pay me at various points, but because there's actually a glut of people who can create content and create it at pretty fast, pretty cheap efficiency, and actually be fairly decent, the money there isn't very good, and it's really essentially either a game of being in the know, being in the clique. You know, people help people out that are in the same deal. So the agencies that are the most powerful are actually just agencies that have had a lot of time and a lot of connections, to be said. Or you're really fighting for the ones offs, the two offs, the people who say they really need something but really don't understand the value of it and will nickel and dime you like crazy to get the best price for them, which doesn't even come out to dignify the work you put into it, let alone the time you spent learning the work to put into it. So content creation is becoming a nickel and dime, a race to the bottom on that end. I am promoting myself as a podcast network podcast master, and I right now have, and I did this count yesterday, and I was going to post something on this yesterday asking some help from you guys. didn't get done with a lot of things happening. But I right now have 10 active podcasts, technically 9 active podcasts. One podcast that takes a lot of extra effort that I basically am always writing but never get to. One that takes a lot of effort that pushes a half a day to get it done. Others that take less effort in the fact that they can be batched, they can be edited, they can be done kind of ahead of time with the schedules going on. But I'm producing 10 different podcasts a week, or scheduled 10 different podcasts a week, that produces 18 pieces of audio every week. Some of those pieces of audio are an hour long. Many of them are only about 60 seconds, but there's plenty of them. And that's a lot of time and effort. I should have added up the time that some generally come out to. That would be another thing. But I would say I'm producing independently. This is not regards to anything else I'm doing with any of my other business stuff. This is all personal stuff or things that promote things I'm doing. I would say a rough estimate of producing 4 hours of original content every week, or at least publishing 4 hours of original content every week, because I'm batching things up. On some weeks, I'd say I would produce maybe 5 to 6, and some weeks I'll produce around 2 to 3 based on how things are going along, and other things that never actually get released, and some things that are projects that really stall, that I haven't found a way, and have somehow found a way to hold back on trying to produce in that vein. But that's enough on those ends and those whinings and that on those thoughts. There's a lot of things going on in the side hustle world right now. A lot of real world issues that people are doing. A lot of people are killing themselves trying to keep up with what's going on. And I'm lucky to have a full-time job that does deal with media, where I can still do some of these things and get some love out of it. That allows me to do that stuff, that I can pay the bulk of what's going on. So I'm not leaning as much on my entrepreneurial stuff as I would like to. But here's the deal. I really, really, really would like to lean more on my private, individual entrepreneurial stuff. That is essentially why I'm doing this. That's the point of where I've been going with this the whole time. I don't have the right answers to how to fix the multi-passion entrepreneurial work, other than to focus on some of the things that are working the best, and let some things go to the wayside, slide off to the bit. Keep it in the back of the closet for someone that you know is going to honor and cherish your time and effort to do it, and keep it up. Practice it just like it's something that you want to keep a skill sharpened for other things, and do the best you can do to wrap as many of your passions, many of your pieces into one thing. That's the biggest thing for multi-passionate entrepreneurship. It's not working as well as you think. Having all these ideas, which are probably great ideas, probably sustainable ideas, you're just not finding the right way to make them work out and keep them sustained. Trust me, I am there. Not I've been there, I am there. I'm working that exactly thing right now. So this is the part where I offer up a small pitch, a small plea, to see if I can help you out in what's going on with what you have, what you need or needing. As a also business development, which I also believe, which how I work into thing, as part of my work for personal and professional development, working on your business, working to make sure that's going well, makes you have a better life and work much better professionally. If you're looking for some help to get some clarity in what's going on, if you've got too many passions working through and not sure which way to go with them, reach out to me. Send me an email. You know the address, jclevelandpayne@gmail.com. jclevelandpayne@gmail.com. And put in the subject line accountability. Because that's the biggest thing that I'm working on right now. The biggest thing I'm working with right now is accountability. Every action that I'm putting out there has to be accountable to someone, has to produce something for someone. When someone asks me for an idea and wants to work some sort of project, the biggest question is, what is the get from this? Is this a personal thing? Okay, we'll work it as best as possible when time allots, because it's based on personal time and personal things, and there's no way to go. Is this actually a business thing? Do you need this item, or need this project done, or need this report written because it's going to help you sell things, or you're going to sell it specifically for something, and that's the route there. That's who you're accountable for. You're accountable for your bank account or your bills. We'll work it that way. Is it something that you're truly, deeply passionate about, that doesn't have a monetary value, but has a value that basically tugs at your heart, your soul? Is it some sort of charity? Is it some sort of group that is impoverished, unnourished, some group that is not getting the love it needs, and you feel in your heart that you have to do this? Those are the people you're accountable for. We'll work on that as well. I have a worksheet that works through, so you can work through what things you want to be accountable for, why it is. It's basically going through the process of what do you want to do, why is it important, does it really give you what you think you're getting? And then after taking a little while to sit back and really think on it, we focus on what to do in the next steps there. Accountability. So that's basically what I'm selling you on this one as I talk about the multi-passion entrepreneurship world not working out as great as you think. And if you don't have a lot of help, if you're a solo guy, that's where the real issue lies. Because you can be multi-passionate in your ways and your thoughts and your processes, but if you're not doing it for your employees or for your family or for other people who are helping work out, and that's who you're accountable for, then you'll find yourself overrun with things that pop up that essentially become an instant passion that before you know it, it's a part of your process that you're not sure why you're doing, takes up a lot of time, and doesn't generate a lot of revenue, whatever you want to call your revenue, not of returns. Your multi-passion entrepreneurship journey is not working as well as you think it is. It just isn't. I know that because my multi-passion entrepreneurship journey isn't working as well as I think it is. And maybe one day you'll figure it out. One day I hope to figure it out. And I think I know where I need to go, but there's some bits and pieces that need to be done. Part of that is finding more people to help in their journeys that are focused. What am I focused on? Right now, helping you out with accountability. If you know this is the time that you need someone to help you figure out where your priorities should be lying, not where they lie, or where they are lying, or where people tell you they are, where you can look and see where they should be, I would like to help. I'm going to put my email address in the comments for this, or it'll be in somewhere in the description, so you can check it out if you're watching this at a later date, or if you're just listening to it on the audio feed. Email me at jclevelandpayne@gmail.com. I don't have a fancy funnel for this one. I don't have a fancy intake on this one. This is a one-on-one thing. Email my rather spammy email address that I'm always sifting through all day so I don't miss out on important things, and get to me so we can get together on this. I always have a quick 15 minutes somewhere to get things going. And sometimes it just takes a quick 15 minutes to talk about some things, get you on the right track and go. If you need a little extra help, we can set up for an extended plan to make that work out on both our ends. It works towards me and my entrepreneurship as I work towards developing people and developing their goals. It works towards you on your entrepreneurship, or maybe it's not even being an entrepreneur. It's just being a better person, being a better mother so you can manage what's going on with your household, being a better father because you need to manage what's going on outside the household so you can be there. or vice versa. We have roles that are definitely diverse these days. Being a better spouse, being a better brother, mother, sister, father, just being better. A lot of that comes down to who are you actually accountable for and what are you actually turning in for your work. There will be some work, but we'll make it happen. It's not as painful as you think, and once you get started on it, you'll see just how important the journey is to get going. And you'll see what's amazing is you'll see that light at the end of the tunnel, that gate inside of the fortress, that castle at the top of the hill. You'll see the end point. You'll see the finish line. You'll see where it is you're trying to get to. You'll see the distance between here and there. You'll see some of the obstacles. You'll see some of the things that will get in your way, some of the things that will push you back, hold you going, and some things that will help you move forward. There'll be some things actually out there. You'll show up at some places, and there'll be people along the way to help you get a little bit further. And I'm here to start that journey with you. Need a little help with accountability? Too many things in your multi-passion entrepreneurship life? Let me help you get settled on that. Let me help you weed down some of the non-essentials and get to the essentials so you can get back to them. I'm not telling you to give up on all the multi-passionate thoughts, not telling you to give up on all the things out there. I'm just saying pause and focus on the important things. Accountability. Let's work on that first. Email me with accountability in the subject line to letter J, Cleveland like the city, PAYNE @gmail.com, and we can get together working it. We will get this thing going. I'm helping you, you're helping me. We together will help this whole thing, whole life, everyone out there, getting ourselves straight, getting everybody else on a better path.